I'll be the first to admit that I enjoy reaction channels. I know some people may call them lazy and that the person is just banking off the other content of others. For a few channels that might be the case, but for the ones that I watch, the person reacting is funny, and sometimes even insightful. They may make a comment or observation about the music. I only watch music reactions that I hadn't considered before. I listen to a lot of metal and its various subgenres, so seeing the reactions of people who aren't familiar with those genres is a fun experience for me. That was until someone anonymously sent me a link to a new reaction channel, insisting that I check it out, and that it was perfect for me. This link came via a Facebook message from an obviously fake account. There hadn't been any photos or evidence that the profile was used. From the looks of it, it seemed to have been created just minutes before the message was sent. I wasn't busy at the time, and despite the dubious profile, I saw no harm in checking it out. It was a YouTube link, and I already had a VPN running, so I was perfectly confident in my digital privacy and safety. The link directed me to a video with a single view. The channel's name was that of a person, rather than a brand or an online handle. For my own safety and peace of mind, I will not share the channel's name. I do not wish to cause further trouble by reigniting their interest in me. And I am only sharing my story now because I do not wish for the same thing to happen to someone else. Use this as a general guide, a reference, so that if you happen to experience the same terrifying situation, you can at least react appropriately. Hopefully, if this does happen to you, you'll have better luck than me. The video was titled, "Reacting to My Name." That's right, my actual name was in the title of the video. Of course, my immediate thoughts went to friends and colleagues. I assumed that someone I knew had set the whole thing up, that this was an elaborate prank. Already amused, I played the video. It was only 15 seconds long, and had apparently been filmed on a smartphone or a handheld camera. I had made it only 2 seconds into the video before my heart plummeted into my stomach, and I felt as if every cell of my body had been chilled by some boreal wind. I was sitting at my desk, mouth agape, staring at my own face. It was not a reflection. My appearance on screen was markedly older, with frown lines, a beard in desperate need of grooming, and eyes that were sunken. For 13 seconds, this elderly doppelganger stared at something just off screen, with an expression that suggested either confusion or annoyance. In the final 2 seconds of the video, however, the expression completely changed. It became the face of one witnessing something unimaginably horrifying. The eyes widened, the skin of the face grew taut, and the mouth opened in preparation of what I'm sure would have been a lung-depleting scream. I had never seen myself so frightened, couldn't imagine ever being as blackly terrified as my future self appeared. The video cut to black just before the scream erupted from my throat. I immediately replayed it, thinking that somehow by doing so, I would draw another second from it, more footage of my awful dread. The length remained the same. The video hadn't changed. It still ended with that other me overcome by some supreme fright. I went to the channel and almost leapt out of my chair in shock. There were other videos, all 15 seconds long. After calming my nerves, I resettled into my chair and I began watching the rest. They were all the same. Each one featured some elder clone staring at something off screen for the first 15 seconds, and then reacting to some unknown object of horror in the last 2 seconds. I went through 30 videos of this, and the further I went back, the younger I became in the video. The oldest video, somehow with an upload date still 1 week ahead, showed a relatively familiar face. In this video, I hadn't any of the signs of extreme age that were present in the latest. I did look pathetically disheveled though. The more recently uploaded video showed a man who seemed decades older, even though the last video's date was only 2 months in the future. I wanted to believe that the videos were the results of a crafty use of filters, deepfake programming, and date falsification. I had a friend in theater who was good with makeup, and she could be something of a prankster sometimes. I also have a friend who is really good with computers. He even put mine together for me, and wouldn't doubt for a second that he could somehow manipulate or alter the listed upload date of video. And neither did I doubt his potential capability in making some mock-up of my face. The channel being some grand prank project was possible, but highly unlikely. I hadn't done anything to warrant the efforts required of the alleged prank, and I knew that my friends were too busy with their own personal, professional, and educational duties and problems to spend significant time on something like that. Obviously, these videos kept my attention for the remainder of that day. I watched them all over and over again, trying to glean some hidden meaning or the most general idea of what the horror-inspiring thing could be. The background of all the videos was the same. A white wall with nothing hanging on it. My clothing changed as they would with the passage of days, and I recognized every shirt. I had a lot of things to do throughout that week. Plans with friends, job interviews, online courses. I didn't attend a single one. I hadn't even bothered canceling them. Every appointment I had made was ignored, in favor of further study of those bizarre, stranger-sent videos. I commented on all of them, hoping and dreading to get a response. I briefly considered asking my friends if they were responsible, but something told me that they hadn't had anything to do with them. The face was too real, too perfect in its mimicry to be the result of some program or filter. It was me. I was in each video, staring off until some horrifying thing or element appeared off screen. By the end of the week, I was a mess. I had still carried on bathing and changing my clothes, but I had stopped eating, and had logged off or deactivated all forms of social media. My apartment is gated, so if my friends had thought to come check up on me, they wouldn't have been able to enter the complex. I had isolated myself, condemned myself to a fruitless investigation of the channel and its videos. There was no personal information, no off-site links or even descriptions for the videos. They were the sole content of the channel. I was the sole subject. That weekend, I finally regained a bit of sense, and had the first new ideas since beginning my desperate investigation. I messaged the person on Facebook who had originally sent the link to the latest video. I asked them politely at first to provide me with more information. When they did not respond, but Facebook showed that they had viewed the message, I demanded information, threatening to go to the police if they did not comply. In response, I received another link a few minutes later. This one to a video that had been uploaded in the span of the time after sending the threatening message. That video is the most unsettling thing I've ever seen, and nearly drove me to madness and misery. On screen, like all the others, was a much older duplicate of myself. As all the other videos had been, This one was 15 seconds. The background was an unblemished, undecorated white wall. I was staring at something just off to the side, behind the camera. I looked absolutely decrepit, no younger than my early 90s. At 13 seconds, my sagging face again became stricken with extreme horror. But in the last half second of the video, something could be seen entering the frame. For just an instant, the tip, corner, or edge of a face was visible. I couldn't tell if the object was a chin, nose, ear, or something else. But from the level of its appearance, its texture, color, and the way my copy on screen reacted to it, it couldn't have been anything else. But whose? I went to bed without answers. Only this time, I wasn't even able to lose consciousness out of a sheer physiological need to sleep. I stayed up throughout the entire night. I resumed my study of the channel as soon as daylight filtered in through my window blinds. I figured that since a new video had been uploaded, I should rewatch them all again, to see if I could uncover some heretofore unseen evidence. The hours went by and I barely moved, kept my eyes glued to the monitor as the images of myself flicked by. I didn't eat, I didn't speak to anyone, or do anything else that would have drawn my attention away from the task at hand. I felt it mortally imperative that I find out the meaning behind the videos. I again decided to contact the person on Facebook, but saw that they had deleted their account or blocked me. I couldn't send them a message, and their profile was inaccessible. Disheartened but not totally deterred, I continued watching the videos. It had become a habit, an action that almost approached comfort. Even though my hope dwindled with each hour that had passed, I felt that to do anything else would bring about a fit of anxiety, if not something much worse. By the evening of that Sunday, I had fallen asleep on my desk. The sound of a YouTube notification had brought me back to consciousness from a dreamless sleep. The channel, the only channel I remained subscribed to, had uploaded another video. This one was unlike any other, and lasted for only 5 seconds. Despite its shorter duration, it was the most revelatory of them all. The image on screen was a black background with the letters TOYW across it in white. They remained there for the entirety of the video. I had never seen that word before. I doubted it was a misspelling of the word toy. Doubted that the people responsible could have been so careless as to allow a spelling mistake into one of their videos. I searched the term, but found nothing that could have been relevant to the situation at hand. I watched the video more than any of the others, even the one in which I saw some feature of another person enter the frame. I ran the term in my head, reorganized it, tried to conceive of some other practically unknown term for which it could have been an anagram, wrote out phrases for which it could have been an abbreviation, but nothing sensible came to mind. I could not crack the enigma. I eventually threw aside the pen and paper and simply stared off into space, not bothering to glance at the screen, since the image had been burned into my brain. As if by chance or fate, my eyes happened to settle upon my webcam during one of these disassociated moments. Once my eyes had landed on it, I couldn't look away. Was oddly and eerily captivated by it. After a few moments, it eventually all came together. The tracks aligned, the puzzle complete. TOYW. Turn off your webcam. The next day, after having destroyed my webcam, sold my computer, and bought a cheap laptop installed with the latest antivirus, anti-intrusion software, I checked on the channel again. I hadn't slept throughout the night, neither in the morning, and had been a source of repulsion for several people as I carried out my errands. A new video had been uploaded to the channel. The video seemed even more familiar than the others, and I realized with both shock and embarrassment that it had been filmed on the previous day. I was still wearing the same shirt featured in the video, and recognized every piece of evidence of my unhygienic state. The video had been backdated, and was now, chronologically, the first video in the sequence. The timeline of terror had just become incredibly real. I haven't yet unraveled the overall mystery. I don't know why this has been done to me, or what the ultimate purpose was. For now, it seems to have stopped. I've managed to ignore the channel and move on with my life. I've made my apologies to my peers for my absences, most of which have been forgiven. I still feel that itch to check on the channel, to reopen the investigation of my life's unlawful chronicle, but I think it would be best if I just left it alone. That Wise in the Future will not become my reality, if I can help it.